Hello, dear all. We are so happy to see all of you joining EWB Thursday series of webinars. And every week we have guest speakers who are joining our platform from different countries and different regions. And today we are so excited to welcome to our platform Dr. Sumita Dore. She's from the US, and this is the first time she's joining EWB, but we hope that over the time she will be presenting more often on EWB platforms. And again, yes, we call this Thursday webinar Investment Time for Professional Development, and spending 1 hour at the webinar and doing it regularly will help to boost your career path and also to deepen your knowledge and also to become better educator, because as we call it, like the Thursday webinars are the table where our guests bring their food for thinking, food for improvement, food for self-development, and for us it's just tasting and learning and also just digesting all this knowledge and all this experience to make a better version of ourselves as educators. And I would like to remind you that our speaker will deliver a presentation, and after that you will have a chance to ask your questions in the Q&A session. And before I give the floor to our guest speaker today, let me give some brief introduction about speaker. Dr. Sumita Dore is an educator and curriculum specialist with over 15 years of experience in English language teaching and professional training. She teaches at Collin College in Texas and has worked on international projects with the U.S. State Department of in the USA, and she's fluent in 4 languages. Dr. Dore brings a global student-centered approach to language education and teacher development, and today her topic is teaching strategies for formal language usage in ESL writing. And I'm so excited to learn from today's webinar and from our speaker, and with great pleasure, I'm giving the floor to Dr. Sumita Dore. Thank you so much. So all those who are watching us on Facebook and over Zoom, so please hurry up and join and prepare your notebooks to jot down important and essential teaching tips and strategies that our speaker will share today. And over to you. Thank you so much, Dr. Dore. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Let me share my PowerPoint so that we can get started as soon as possible.
Formal, you can give a bad impression.
I'm sorry. Let's go back. Okay, so welcome everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. It's a pleasure to talk to you all about strategies in formal language usage in ESL classes. Here are some of my thoughts and some of my strategies that I use in my classes. And at the end, you can ask your questions in the chat, or you can talk. Maybe you can ask your questions at the end so that we can talk so that I can answer each question as it comes. And I will share this PowerPoint with all of you so that you can take a look and use them in your own classes. So as I said, these are about strategies for using formal language in classes. the reason why, so my objectives for this session are understanding the features of formal and informal language, identifying common informal expressions and finding their formal equivalents, applying teaching strategies to help ESL students write and speak more formally, practice. Also, students will learn how to practice formal language in different classroom activities that I have brought for you here. So the question that comes to our mind is that why do we need to teach formal language? Formal language is used, as you know, in professional communication. It enables students to communicate effectively in workplaces and academic settings. It promotes cultural understanding. Students can grasp the nuances of formal interactions in different cultures. It promotes academic success because students are prepared by using and learning how what formal language is. They can write better essays, reports, research papers as required in higher education. Also, formal language creates or promotes or improves social integration. It facilitates smoother interactions in formal social settings. The reason is these days we do not write so much. So, and even if we write, most people are just using text messages, writing on the phone. That's about it. And when we have to write for academic purposes or in the business world, it is the formal language that needs to be used. So let's look at what are characteristics of formal and informal language. So formal language is used, as I said, used in academic and professional contexts. It uses an objective and serious tone. It uses full or complete words and long sentence structures, complete sentence structures. In other words, there are no contractions. It uses passive voice and it avoids slang, idioms, abbreviations, and personal language. Here is a short clip that I thought would be useful for all of us. Let me play it so that you can.
People who pick post-university for an MS in Business Intelligence and Analytics expect classes on their schedule, on their budget, taught by real-world professionals who know what it takes to move ahead in their field. Are you a post person?
I'm sorry.
Hi, Sian here for BBC Learning English. In this masterclass, we're going to look at some differences between formal and informal English. Hey, how's it going? Good afternoon, how are you? Sometimes formal and informal can seem like two different languages. In the same way you wouldn't normally wear shorts and a t-shirt to a job interview, if you use language that's too formal or too informal, you can give a bad impression. Let's look at some differences between formal and informal English. Now, I received an email this morning. Have a look at this email. Do you think the language is formal or informal, and why?
Dear Mrs. Brown, I'm writing to find out whether you have any jobs in your company this summer. At the Mo, I'm studying economics at uni. I've been working part-time in a shop and recently they promoted me to the role of manager. I'm enthusiastic, I work hard, I pay attention to detail.
Okay, so that email used informal language, and it's too informal for this style of letter. We're going to look at 4 features that make this informal, and we're going to change it to make it more formal. Number 1, choice of vocabulary. In informal English, we use more common words and more phrasal verbs. For example, here we have a phrasal verb, find out. It would be better to use a more formal equivalent like inquire. Same with jobs, this is quite informal. So instead, let's use vacancies here. Instead we have, I'm writing to inquire whether you have any vacancies. Number 2, abbreviations. It's more common in informal language to use abbreviations, contractions, shortened forms of verbs. Let's have a look. So, here we have at the mo, which is short for at the moment. This is okay when you're speaking, but not when you're writing. Here we could use currently, which is even more formal. Same here, uni is short for university, so don't use this short form in a letter. Currently, I'm studying economics at university. Quite often, in formal language, we choose passive structures over active. Let's have a look here. The active sentence, they promoted me, is quite informal. It would be much better to use a passive form here to make it more formal. I was promoted. So, recently, I was promoted to the role of manager. This doesn't mean don't use active structures in a formal letter, but have a think about whether the passive one is more appropriate. Finally, in informal English, short, simple sentences are much more common, whereas in formal English, we use more complex structures. Take a look at this one. Here we have 3 short, simple sentences, and this is fine in informal English, but we can do this by adding relative pronouns or linkers. For example, I'm an enthusiastic person who works hard and pays attention to detail. So, would you kindly visit our website? We're friends. That's too formal. Go to our website, bbclearningenglish.com, for more information about this and to practice formal and informal English.
Okay, so I hope you got a brief idea of what formal and informal language is, and I will have many activities for practice that you can share with your students. So here, let's go to the next slide.
See you soon. Goodbye.
So what is informal language? As she talked about in the video, there are the informal language is used in informal or intimate contexts, such as when we are talking to friends, relatives, or children. It uses a personal tone and first-person pronouns. It can use slang. These days, the reason I'm pointing out all these is because most of us are always using our telephone or a cell phone or mobile phone for communication, and that's where we use slang words or we use contractions or we don't use a relative pronoun, as I have shown you in this example. The girl we met yesterday is very nice, or we use ellipses. So John saw 2 eagles in the sky and Bill saw 3. Uses active voice. Also, I've completed my homework. It would be, I have finished my job. These are totally okay in an informal situation, but not in a formal situation. Moving on. Here is a worksheet that I would give to my students. This is just the beginning. After this, I will give you some time to go and do the quiz. We can do that. Could we use the? Do you think it's possible to do breakout rooms, or should we? Because I thought we could do this by joining the quiz. Joinmyquiz.com. Could you do it in the workout rooms, or should we continue?
I would suggest using it in the general room where we all are together, because some are joining from phones, some are from computers, and probably not all will be working. Some will be just observing. So if we could stay in that one main room, that would be better.
Okay. So here we have some examples, and here is an activity that we can do over. Before we go to that, maybe we can do this activity, join my quiz afterwards. Let's move on, and I will come back to this activity later on, because it means we have to, you would have to move from the Zoom room to this website, which may stop our flow. So let's go on, move to the next. Here, I would like you, is it possible for anyone or everyone to join the Slido?
Yes, of course, dear professor. Yes, it's clear. Just I'm
Are you
here.
able to join?
Oh, yes. You will send us the link, yes, for joining.
The link is given here. You just go to slido.com and type or take the QR code, and there is the code given below. Can you see it?
Okay. Yes, I can see. Slido.com, yes. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Thank you.
Has everyone joined? I'll give you some more minutes and then we can move on, because there are some. Should I move to the next slide? Which do you think is an example of informal language? Good. Okay, so I think we will move on. Now, here is a paragraph that I thought could be used in the class. There are different ways in which you could use this paragraph. Actually, we can start with giving just giving out these vocabulary words that I have provided on the right side, and we can ask the students to write a paragraph. And this is a paragraph that I actually got from one of my students. So, and you will recognize that there are certain aspects or certain elements in this paragraph that make it, what is it, informal or formal? If someone could tell me, you could. It is obvious that this is. You can see there are some contractions. So this it's. I'm sorry. So there are contractions which make it informal. Let's go and see it. So we first make the students write an informal paragraph, and then after they discuss in a group, and they would have to come up with a formal paragraph. And here is the formal paragraph that they could produce. And here again, we can make sure that they have used those words that I had provided earlier. So here is a very formal paragraph that can be written with the same words. Moving on. Again, this paragraph, if you can take a few seconds and tell me if this is formal or informal. Yeah, this is a very formal paragraph. So now we'll see if we'll look into it and see if we can make it into an informal paragraph. Let's move to the next slide. And here we have certain expressions like vital instead of important, shaping individuals instead of just saying changing individuals. So we have used certain expressions to make that paragraph even more formal, okay? So moving on, we'll go to the next. Here, this is an example which could be used as group work. I would give each group one of these situations. And then they would have to write down what needs to be formal, or it can be done in oral communication. So they would read the sentences and explain whether it's formal or informal in certain. They would have to name those situations and then add if this is formal, so they could make it informal, and vice versa. So it could be, if it's a formal situation, they can make it informal and things like that. So this could be as a group work project. And here is another paragraph which is on students. I gave this to my students. So they produced, I told them just write something about travel. What do you think? And this is how they came up with. So this is not a very formal paragraph. And we'll see how this can be. So with this paragraph, I thought of 2 or 3 different things that students can do after they are put into groups. So there is the next thing that I want them. So here is a passage which, if needed to be, my idea was that they should be able to produce a travel brochure. These days, making students do some creative things and things that they can use in real life. So I thought that they could create. So here is some posters or some short paper presentations or chart presentations where there are two brochures that students could produce, and these are just samples of how they could, the same paragraph on travel, which was a longer, can be shortened and made into posters that can be used for commercial use. So, and that would motivate the students that they have been able to apply the formal words and expressions and made a travel brochure, which can be used by travel companies. And here are the sources that I used. I'm almost towards the end of my presentation, and if these are the sources from where I got my ideas, and this is and if anyone wants to have a copy of this presentation, I have given you you can take a picture of this and give me, and we can now, you can unmute yourself and ask me questions. So thank you very much, and let me know if you have questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Sumita Dore. It was really interesting. So we often, like, in our conversation, because we are non-native speakers, in many cases we mix formal and informal. Yeah, and
Yes.
And it is very good to see your your insights about how to identify formal and informal speeches. And this is really great. And sometimes even the students mix the formal and informal sentences. And yes, that's quite correct, that in order to look professional, we should use formal speeches and be able to distinguish between formal and informal speeches. And my question is that, like, what would be your recommendation to to help students to know about formal and informal speeches? What level, or what what is the age where when the students should learn about formal and informal speeches? Or what?
If they, I don't know about your country, but I feel like once they are in high school, I'm talking from even in America, all the students, because at the moment I'm teaching at the college level, I teach college level English. So I find that the high school students, because they're not used to writing, and whatever they write is just paragraphs, they're not used to write a whole paper so. I think from the age of 16, we need to remind them that your language, what you write in your text messages is informal, and it's okay. And the other problem is students don't have exposure to formal language. Where do we can hear formal language, say in the news? If you your country, you have access to English news, say from BBC or from CNN or ABC, so they could hear those. But then I feel that especially in other countries, the teachers should maybe once after 2-3 classes do a review and give them exposure to formal language, because the exposure that our students, ESL students, would have is mostly because they like to listen to songs where there is slang, a lot of slang, and it's informal. So they are used to either or TikTok videos or Instagram videos, where everywhere it is slang. So if you could, if your teachers could say, give them, say, play a short video of, say, President Obama's speech, or some well-known person speech, maybe short clips, and there are even from BBC, you have several examples of. So make them listen to those and point out, make them work on the vocabulary, make them see the difference. How would, if you ask them, maybe ask them what did you understand from that paragraph or that little excerpt that they heard? And then they will start saying it, but they will say it in their own informal way. And then we as the teacher could correct them and tell them this is how, and keep reminding them that you would be able to, if you speak English well, the world is your audience. So everywhere, and when you are giving a formal address somewhere or speaking formally to some audience, a global audience, you would need to use formal language. And these are small examples. I use speeches. This was too short a time. I use in my classes, I use excerpts from different well-known people. And I know the people who I know speak well, and I use those and then they analyze the speech even more critically.
Yeah,
Any other questions?
that sounds really great. So we have a next question. So do you use AI tools or grammar checkers like Grammarly in class, and how do you guide students to learn from these suggestions rather than copy them?
I will, yeah, that's what I have started. I was also hesitant to use AI, but now it's unavoidable. You cannot avoid it. So you have to. And what we can do is if we have them, if they have, we realize that they have used Grammarly or something, what I do is I make them tell me, in the prompt itself, I tell them, mention if you have used some AI source and explain it to me what you did with it. And they do come up with, yes, I consulted this or I used this. And then what I do is, okay, I tell them, and I will, when I'm giving them individual feedback on those big essays or research papers or something, I would say, okay, I found this to be really something that you cannot say or produce yourself. This is AI generated. And then I make them, okay, how would you say it in your own words? Can you tell me in your own words what's said in such perfect language? So that's how that's how I would do it. Yeah, I have a question here who says that if you use speeches from uh, from famous people, I do use, I give them, it depends on the level. When it's the college level, I don't have to give them vocabulary words beforehand, but because they are supposedly first, the English is their first language, but it's not true. It's not true. They do have difficulties with the difficult words. So I do make a note, and when I'm playing it, immediately after playing it, I will point out these. And in as a class, we have an oral discussion on the vocabulary. That's how. But for an ESL class, I would pick the unknown words and have a proper discussion, and then will play the small excerpt of that speech. Okay, I just missed that question. I just saw a question.
That's true. Thank you so much. Yes, and it is really great to hear your expertise on that. So we have next question. Do you use color coding, rubrics, or checklists when reviewing formal writing with students, or which methods are the most effective?
I'm not understanding. Color coding in the sense like,
Yes.
Do you mean that when I see a student's writing and I color code by saying this is informal or this is formal?
Yeah,
Okay, is that what?
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I do use that. Say maybe I use yellow for formal and another color for informal, and I mark it throughout, or I just beside the sentence, I'll just say F or IF, something like that, so that they understand that I have pointed out these are your informal sentences that you need to change to formal. Yes, color coding is a good, and if this would be in the first draft. In the second or third draft, I would make them, like I say, when it's the third draft and they have still not corrected their inform, I would just take off points. Because the student has been given a chance to correct their work in the two previous drafts, and they haven't done it. So I do make them, then I take off points.
Yeah, that's quite objective. Yeah, quite fair. Yeah. Okay. So how do you balance accuracy with fluency when students are still developing their understanding of formal language?
Can can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Yeah. How do you balance accuracy with fluency when students are still developing their understanding of formal language?
Okay, so I think this when I'm stressing a formal, and it would be best with advanced, intermediate, and totally advanced students, because the beginners and intermediate students, for them, being able to speak and being able to being fluent is more than enough. I feel it's more than enough when they are going at an upper level, say intermediate, high intermediate and intermediate, advanced. Then I would point out and make them change their sentences to formal language. That's how I would deal with it. At the beginning, like beginners and low intermediate, I would not stop them or correct their informal language. But when they are high intermediate and advanced level, I would make them change their language, explain to them and make them change it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, so we have more questions. What collaborative writing activities do you find most effective for practicing formal writing in pairs or groups?
When we can give the students, say, for example, I showed you the example of making a travel brochure. So they started with sure, I would just give them different topics. Maybe even if we divide the class, say, into 5 groups, and they're all working on making travel brochures, so they would start with their own paragraph, informal paragraph. I would tell them, okay, write a paragraph on you're going to eventually make a travel brochure. So before that, write your own paragraph, a blurb of what you want to. And so this can be a group work of, say, 2 or 3 students, not more than that, because then when it's more than 2 or 3 students, we find that out of the 4 students, maybe 2 are working, and the other 2 do not contribute much, and it doesn't help. So maybe 2 or 3 students, and they can work on. So that's where they would go step by step. Start with give them some vocabulary that would, and I know that those could be used in a travel brochure, and those would be formal words that they can use. So give them those words, formal words for a travel brochure, or say, make them say they want to start a new AI class. If they want to start a new AI class or something, introduction to AI or something, and start with. So the group work should be limited. I feel should be limited to 2 or 3 students, not more than that, and then work step by step, go step by step until they come to the final product. Like in mine, it was a brochure or a poster or something. That would be the last stage. But so that's how they could work in groups for formal. Or say, for example, we could have start with create job advertisements. So they would, where the job requirement has to be stated briefly, and then not just the job description, what the person needs to, the qualifications the person needs to have, and then the say experience, all that. Say, so my one example is this travel brochure, and the other example would be putting a job ad somewhere in LinkedIn or wherever, or in some place, or job boards or something. So there again, writing that would be a good making them write just that advertisement for a certain job. That would be, and then say make them create small say create an advertisement for cars, a certain car, put the picture and then give the specifications of the car. So students like these creative things where they can put pictures and make a, even if it's if they want to show a video of that car, whatever the car is, how it, and explain that in a video or something, but using formal language.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. So we have next couple more questions. How do you teach students to balance clarity and complexity when writing formally?
For writing formally, I would, the main thing is I would tell them this sentence is, you would need to reword it, you need to make it more clear and precise, and I would give them examples, and I keep, what I personally do is I make them write over and over again with my suggestions. And finally, so there is, say for example, if it's that travel brochure, they would have to at least give me, there would be writing in 3-4 steps. So in those 3-4 steps, their language, and I would be checking each step of on the way. So I think by the 5th step, it would come out as perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have next question. How do you handle mixed ability classes when teaching formal writing, especially with large gaps in vocabulary knowledge?
For vocabulary knowledge, and if it's a large class, the first thing I would do is make them read, say, give them articles to read from magazines or well-known magazines, and go through those and show them. So it would not now the example that I've given before is for that those speeches from well-known people. I would also pick newspaper articles and go over first 2 paragraphs of this article or that article, and we break down and look at each vocabulary item and the sentence structures, and show them this is how, see how this could have been said. Ask them, do you think, ask them first, keep asking them, is this formal or informal, and then make them say it. So it would need, I feel that to make them aware and start practicing, maybe the higher intermediate level, all these things that I have suggested would be appropriate for high intermediate and advanced students. Before that, it is too much for them.
Yeah, completely agree with you. Thank you so much, Professor. So next question. What are the best resources for learning both formal and informal English? You mentioned a couple of them like CNN, yes, BBC, but do you also recommend other sources, other resources?
Yeah, there is a website called Voice of America, and they have wonderful resources, and they also have I can, if you want, I can email you those sources. There are Voice of America, and then there is PBS. PBS is a very good station over here. It has no commercials, and the programs are quality programs, and it's more or less, there is no, they do not they hardly talk about, say, controversial topics. They are, and say about what I'm thinking in articles that would be good for our students would be on travel, on issues like climate change and or scientific inventions, or history of this country or that country, and why we should so pick non-controversial subjects, in other words. And there are there are several sources that we can. It's just that the teacher needs to have her eyes and ears open and being ready to accept. So I'm willing to share my sources with you in an email later on, and you can share it with the other people.
Okay, thank you so much. So next question, how do you teach students to avoid wordiness in formal compositions?
We would have they would not be able to say that it is wordy, but we as the expert can tell them that this is very wordy. I would suggest making them say it, read that sentence aloud to you, and then tell them, do you think this is a good sentence? Is it clear enough? Is it clear to you? Or maybe pick some sentences wordy. The other strategy, I feel like after the students have written, say, a paragraph which supposedly is the formal paragraph, the teacher can pick some of these wordy sentences and in class write those or show them on the board and explain that, look, these are wordy sentences. How can we, and as a class, discuss and come up with better sentences, and that way the whole class can benefit from those examples that were chosen from their writings.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a good strategy. So, and I guess we have the last question. What classroom routines or weekly tasks help build consistency in students' use of formal English?
I feel that as the teacher, I don't know, me personally, I always use formal language. Once I enter my classroom, I remember I'm a different person and I use formal language. Maybe what we can do is play a short 2-3 minute clip of something formal that we found ourselves, play it in the class just for like icebreaker or something. Play it first, tell the students, tell me if it's formal or informal. They will come up with some ideas, have a initial discussion of 15 minutes, and keep this practice. Say if it's a class of say 6 months, maybe the last 4 months, keep doing it every single day. And what we can also do is, instead of us, the teacher, finding, maybe we can tell the students, okay, you need to find a short video or a speech or a podcast or something, you find it and bring it to class, and next time we will play your video or your podcast or whatever it is, and then go about it. So it can be where the work is divided and everyone gets a chance to, and if the thing is informal, we can, as a class, point out that this is not formal as it should be. So the teacher can, the students can bring in their examples from anywhere, and the teacher can play it in the class, whether it's a video or a short podcast or something sound, and then discuss that. So every day, if there is a practice, I feel if there is a practice every day in class, students will eventually be able to produce formal language as required.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's very interesting. And one question also popped up. So Rayona is asking, if your students write formal letters with the help of AI, how do you usually identify or recognize them?
I recognize that with the vocabulary, because the vocabulary used by AI is
Very
is
sophisticated.
yes, it's very sophisticated. And then I know that this student is not capable of writing in that sophisticated manner. So I will make them come up and explain to me and reword it. It's in this age of AI, it's difficult to penalize them and punish them because AI is everywhere. In my college, there is this, they get a free version of Grammarly, the professional. So they are, and they come and tell me, well, we used Grammarly. And I was shocked when one student, because I give them time to start the work in class. So I gave them time, and there was one student who was sitting there doing, was not writing, was not doing, was just doing something else. And I said, what are you going to do? When are you going to start this work and this project? And he said, I'll go home and make it with Grammarly. So I said, how can you have to write something and then Grammarly can improve. I don't know, but he said Grammarly can do that. I didn't know that Grammarly can even write your so I don't know. I haven't tried it, but this is what, so I really don't have an answer to. I would make them come up, give me their own example, just to make them use their own brains rather than depend on AI. But I think it's difficult in today's world.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. But to some extent, yeah, if they learn from AI, that would make sense. That would make
Yeah.
like, they're learning really fast and really insightful because like, AI usually gives like, the ready version of everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, we don't know if the students are, are using AI for learning, but or just making their life easier, avoiding like,
Yeah, that is true. We don't know whether they are learning or they're just using it as a device to finish the homework, whatever it is, as soon
Yeah,
as.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay. So, and Mukhadam is asking, so can you share any podcasts yet that can help students to improve their formal language?
I would have to send it to you in. I know for sure that there are in BBC there is Learn English, and there are lots of and for BBC I'm because I have used them myself. There are several things that can be used in class. I can email them to you, and then you can share it with. But there is a BBC. There is also Voice of America or PBS. You can just click on it and it plays and you can use it. We just need to, we need to go to the website ourselves and choose the one that would be appropriate for the class level of English and things like that. So that's what I feel. But I can always share those things with you later on.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Okay, so I think that all the questions have been addressed. And maybe just, the last question from my side. I'm very curious, like, because nowadays students learn a lot from music, from songs, yeah, and most of the songs are they usually convey informal language, yeah. And do you use some classroom activities for them, how they could translate these informal messages from the songs into formal formal
I
language?
think
And
that's a very good idea. I think I'm getting this idea. I mean, I'm inspired by your question that it would be a good idea to use songs and play the song and then give them the transcript of the song and then make them point out what are the informal words or expressions or sentences and then transform. And I think that could work even at the intermediate, even say beginning, intermediate, not for the beginners, but intermediate, those who are just starting. I think this is a very good, your suggestion is great. And I think that we can do that. But before that, are you thinking of them giving us the songs or you choosing the songs? That's my question too.
I think just, students are better engaged when their interests are covered. So if
Yeah.
they pick up the song, that would be great because because I did it long ago. I did a workshop with my students like long ago, and then like it was teaching critical thinking through music. It was like that, and then like we picked up a song, and then like so we tried. They did some listening, yeah, like filling the gaps. First one, yeah, to improve their listening skills, and then when they have completed and the lyrics of the song was ready for them, then we started asking this asking questions about the meaning of the song, what are the keywords there, and what is the message there. And as a result, then I gave them like the task to write an essay based on the song, so they can produce like what was the genre of the song and what was the topic of the song. So and the next class we would discuss, because like students first what they mentioned, they like the music, but then when they dive deeper into the lyrics, they could better understand what was the message of the song. So that was kind of a kind of a workshop I did long ago with my student, but that was very good because different students, they could have like different perception of the songs, and they could understand the messages of the song in a different way. But that was another way like to boost their critical thinking. By identifying.
I go further because what I do is, if we play a song and then we analyze the meaning, my next question in the English class is, what figures of speech were used? And they have to point out, yes, there was a simile, there was a metaphor, there was this, there was that. And then in the speeches, when I use those big speeches of famous people, we go into, because we are doing rhetorical analysis, I make them tell me if this is, did they use ethos, or did they use pathos, or did they use logos? And those things, and every speech has all the three. So that is at an advanced level. But I think that's with the songs, figures of speech is easily is doable in the classroom.
I'm so happy that yes, that you delivered a very interesting webinar today. It was very engaging, and we got so many questions, and you beautifully responded to all of them. And once again, on behalf of EWB, let me convey our deepest gratitude for your time, for your energy, and for your dedication to share your expertise overseas. 1,000 miles away from Tajikistan, but nevertheless, we appreciate your being a great educator and sharing your experience with teachers in Tajikistan. Thank you so much, dear Dr. Sumita Dore. And of course, we appreciate all those who invested their 1 hour time for self-development, for professional development, and improve their teaching skills through the strategies and tips shared by Dr. Sumita Dore. And I have another exciting news. Next week, Dr. Sumita Dore is going to have another webinar with EWB, and her topic is going to be very exciting. So if you are very interested in TED Talks and how to write essays, so next week topic is so exciting. It is about using TED Talks for writing essays by ESL students. If you don't want to miss this webinar, please put reminder on your phones, on your calendars, and just save this time and this date, and join us next week for our webinar with Professor Sumita Dore. Once again, thank you, dear all. And we'll be happy to see you again, Dr. Sumita, next week, virtually in Tajikistan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to meeting you all again next week. So if I can send you those podcasts that we can use in class. And I think I have shared this presentation before, but if you want, I can share it again. Do you need this presentation again, or do you?
Yes, you can send it via email, because we usually post it on our website, where our members have access to all our resources generously shared by our speakers. And of course, we can share it in our Telegram group, where we have almost over 1.5K members.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. So can you, I'm just curious, where is Tajikistan? Is it,
In
is it
Central
near?
Asia. It is in
Okay.
Central Asia. If you know Central Asian countries, these are 5 countries: Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan.
Mm.
And we have yes, borders with China and also with Afghanistan.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Because I know the Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, all these days, Indian tourists are going there because it's very easy to go from India. And so I would want, I mean, if I had a chance, I would love to go and visit your country and meet with you all.
Yes, of course. We will be happy to host you. Yeah, Dr. Sumita, if you plan to come to Tajikistan, yeah, we will share an announcement about our national conference, which will happen in October. And if you get a chance to be somewhere near, so we'll be happy to see you at the conference.
Sure. And do you also have, I would be interested in, say, any virtual training program, if there is any. I don't know if your organization has that, but I would be interested in more trainings,
Yes,
like
yes, of course.
for a month or for 2 months or something, longer duration.
Okay. Yeah, we can discuss it further. Yes. I mean, just, you
Okay.
know, yeah, maybe via email, or maybe just we can set a Zoom call together and discuss what are the opportunities out there for us to collaborate.
Thank you so much.